Hello my friends on YouTube. Today a little video about the Ganzo FH series, the latest series that came out just at the end of 2018 or the beginning of 2019. I chose to do a review of all three of them. I already did a review of the FH11, which I'll put up somewhere in that corner, and then I of course had to do a review of the other two, but I thought I would do them all in one, since they have, at least materials wise and price wise and a couple of ways, they are much similar to each other, and of course, as you already can see, they also have some differences, but I thought it would be relevant to have a look at this new take on a pocket knife from Ganzo. A good deal of development here from what they started out, and we'll get into that as we go along. Presenting the FH11, and I have a separate review of that, the FH21, and we'll talk about that in this video, and the FH31, which we'll be discussing a bit also in this video. Before that, I'll just take a sip of my coffee, as you always. Starting out with the similarities of what is common for all these knives. They are all made of D2 steel, the blades, and every one of them as a starting point, it comes with G10 or carbon with G10 with carbon fiber laminate, and in fact I have one of those here. It is the FH11 in carbon fiber, and you can see that it's looking quite nice, the laminate, but yeah, I'll try to compare it with true carbon fiber. And we have the North Arm scar here. You can see real carbon fiber is quite different, but that's another story. It's just to show you that there's a bit of a difference. Very smooth surface, and be aware of that if you buy the carbon fiber version. Starting at the top here with the FH11. A blade length 9.2 millimeters, flat grind, a bit of a swedge at the top, and some jimping, which is very efficient at the top of the knife, the start of the handle, actually G10 handle, and a very nice pocket clip with lots of room for material. A bit bent, this one. I didn't do that, but that's how it is on this one. And yeah, that's about it for this one. As I said, I have a review of it already, so we'll just move on very quickly to what I consider the best in the FH series, which is the FH21. It has such a nice shape, very nice design, and for all of these knives I wanted to show the progression that or the development that Ganzo has. Started out with a bit more chunky knives like this one, very a great deal bigger and more chunky, but still quite nice, but yeah, a bit more refined in the newer versions. So I can also show you, this one was let's have a look. This one was the G749, and then I have one of the latest Firebird models, the G761, and all these models, I think I mentioned it, but all these models were 440C steel, and then an update of the steel to D2. I have mixed emotions about D2. Sometimes I think it's very prone to rusting, and in other knives it's not really a problem. I have had a little bit of both. The FH21, very slick and smooth design. I have really liked the design. And G10 handle with a little bit of pattern in the handle to make it look a bit better. Really a very slick design. The blade is a flat grind with a switch on top, jimping as well, which catches your finger nicely. And the pivot, just an ordinary pivot. Hardware is a bit harder than in the first Ganzo knife I bought, Ganzo knives I bought, but yeah. Turning it around, the same type of pocket clip, and lots of room behind. Not deep carry, but rather deep carry. And mentioning the pivot, it is a free spinning pivot, and it is so on all these three models, which I kind of dislike. What they also did is they put in a ton of thread locker, so it's actually quite difficult to get apart. I managed, and as always I have had them apart and lubricated them. They are all on ball bearings. And what you can do, a trick for you, if you have the problem with the pivot, is you can put it in front of a hairdryer for a few minutes. That usually loosens it up a bit. And please remember to have new sharp, I don't know a better word, sharp bits, new bits with sharp corners, and then you should be able to open it. Just heat it up for 3 to 5 minutes with a hairdryer. Yeah, remember to have 2 Torx 8 drivers, otherwise it will be impossible because the pivot is free spinning. Now the FH31, a bit of a different blade shape, and I actually like it quite a lot. The blade shape, the design, one cliff, definitely different. And G10 handle, this is one of the other colors that you get them in. The blade on this one is 8.5 centimeters. See the blue pivot here, also as I mentioned, all 3 of them free spinning, glued very short with thread locker, not a great thing. And an insert for the pocket clip. As we can see, the other 2 not ambidextrous, which is sort of a bad thing for the lefties. This one is, and let's turn it around. Oops, what did we see here? Yeah, no pocket clip. Where did the pocket clip go? I'll show you. Yeah, I put it in my pocket with the pocket clip only once, and then I had it floating for the rest of the time because that's how I usually do. But I played around a little with the pocket, with the knife, and suddenly the pocket clip fell apart. And I have to say, out of these 3 knives, I'll just put the others in the picture again, and the sad bits here. Out of the 3, the FH31 is, apart from design and otherwise, very much the biggest disappointment to me. It is like it was made from a different company. It is much more rough around the edges. The first time I tried to flip it, let's go to this one's action, and you know, being accustomed to the other two, I just flipped it sort of lazily, and that's what happened. You have to apply a little bit more force. It's not like I have to use a lot of wrist, but you have to be more conscious about it. So, and if you are that, no problem. But you know what, let's try this one. It's just so snappy, I can hardly make it fail. It is, I know I can do a lot of things you can't see on the video, but it is very snappy. And the same goes for the FH11. A little bit bigger blade, a little heavier, a little lazier action, but still rather nice action. But the FH31, yeah, it is. That goes for all of them. The detent is to the weaker side, but on this one, very much so. And you have to apply a bit of force. Not the biggest of issues, but it's worth mentioning. And as I told you, I like the blade shape. It sits quite nice in hand. But another thing, fit and finish wise, I don't know if I can. For instance, the flipper is almost as it was pressed. The metal was pressed out. There are so many edges. You can see I just scratched my nail, and I have the pieces here. I can try to do it again. It is very nice at scraping things, and the same goes for the back side, the back side of the blade. Very rough, and that together with the broken pocket clip makes me think that I might have got a lemon, but I can only show you what I got, and this was the one. I can easily float it in my pocket, and so I don't necessarily need the pocket clip, but it's still an ugly thing. And now my voice is getting dry, so from this one specimen that I got, I can't get 10, so I don't know if others are better, but this one specimen I got, I'm not really that happy. I will be buffing off the corners a little bit, and other than that, centering, for instance, is absolutely perfect. And yeah, but quality control lacks a bit on this one. To sum it up, FH11, they really got our attention. FH21 hit the sweet spot, and then they went a little downhill after that. So the FH21 here is definitely the sweet spot for me. I grew a little more fond of smallish knives, mid-size, and I so truly like this one. It is, for me, the best one in this series. And before I go, I also have to mention that they made an FH13, which I never got because I don't like stainless handles, but I might regret that because they made basically the FH11 with a stainless handle and a frame lock, and this became the FH13. But what I'm told and what I've seen on other videos is that it in fact weighs the same as the FH11 with stainless steel handles, so that's a quite nice thing. They removed so much material from the stainless steel that they actually was able to keep the weight the same as G10 handle, which is quite amazing. This was a different video because I tried to cover 3 knives. 2 reasons for that. I think they are sort of the same series, and they demonstrate the progression in Ganzo's designs and general development that they have made. And unfortunately, because I have had a ton of things to do, I have a very big backlog of knives, so I try to do a few more, and these are as I said, in materials and otherwise similar, so I thought it would be a good idea to show them together. And for what it's worth, I think that this is definitely a positive progression from Ganzo. I hope with the FH31 that I got sort of a lemon, because they are definitely on the right track, and they have suddenly developed some more sleek and nice designs. All of them in the price range of around $26, which is amazing. They are coming up close, if not there, they are coming up close to brands like the cheapest Bestech knives and other cheaper brands. And if I got a lemon, I got bad knives from other brands as well, also more well-known brands, and this is not unusable in any ways either. And this video turned out to be very long, so I definitely recommend of at least 2 of these knives. This one with prejudice, because I don't know what you, as I said, if I got a lemon or whatever. But definitely recommend of the others, and if you just want to get one, try out the FH21. I think it's an amazing knife, and I'm so glad I got this. So have a nice day, evening, whatever it is in your country. Bye bye.